Welcome back to another episode of Down with the Browns.
Let's go, baby!
What
Let's
is up, my
get
guys,
it.
on this beautiful Thursday afternoon?
It is fantastic. It is fantastic. As you can see, we have some very special guests in the house tonight.
Yes, sir.
JC and Breathe, baby.
Welcome
What is up,
Everybody
guys?
clap up for them. Let's
to
go.
the newest part of Down with the Browns. Pack the pound, baby.
Pack
We're
the
going to start
pound
doing this
Thursday.
every Thursday. We're going to be bringing on a couple people to hop on with us. And if you guys are interested, just DM me, Maddie, Manny, or Mac, just any of us. Just DMs, bro. We'll think about having you, maybe. And then we'll probably have you on one Thursday. But yeah.
Absolutely. And before we get into the introductions, I want you guys to know something very close and dear to my heart, and that is fantasy football, all right? But Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. No waivers, trades, or lineup setting. Stressing there is no league management aspect needed in your draft, okay? Underdog Fantasy lets you draft a fantasy team in less than minutes. Sign up right now with code 216 and you'll double your deposit up to $100 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit of $10 or more. Deposit $100 and get yourself $100. KFC is shotgunning a bang right now as usual. And Underdog Fantasy, with their slick mobile app and user-friendly website, you'll have no problem jumping and drafting your squad right away. That is Underdog Fantasy. Let's go. Jeff says KFC is gonna have a heart attack one day with all those bangs.
Yes,
All right, let's get started with some introductions. JC of Browns
Manny,
After
what's
Dark.
up?
What's up? Introduce
What's
yourself.
up,
Let
man?
people
Hey,
know.
great to be here. Thank you, guys. Glad to be the first guest of this new segment for you. So, yeah, real quick, obviously Down with the Browns. Got to have my Chubb out and showing, but do have to give a real quick shout out to the newest member of Cleveland. We got obviously Spider coming in, so super pumped for the Cavs. Obviously down to the Browns, but yeah, glad to be here, man.
That's awesome. Got a shout out to that Donovan Mitchell news getting traded to the Cleveland
I know
Cavaliers.
you're pumped. You tweeted
Yeah,
about it. I know you're happy.
I am slightly pumped for Cleveland. But you know, it's already Celtics in 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2023. But we also have our other guest, Breathe Through. Breathe. Your mic is muted at the moment, but what is up? Introduce yourself and let us know what's going on.
What's up? You know, it's one the only Breathe house. Yeah, I mean, like Manny said, you know, Cleveland's lit right now. Down with the Browns is lit. Shit, Breathe is lit. Excuse my language. I don't know.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, everything's just lit right now. And you know, if you watching it live, this is definitely one for the books. One place you can definitely find me this season is on Spotify and a lot of different platforms out there. I'm gonna be having a whole lot of stuff going out when it comes to the Browns and everything else like that. So yeah, it's gonna be lit, man. So if you are watching this as we speak, it is lit. So buckle up.
Let's go.
Well, thank you guys for hopping on with us for sure. But
That's what I do. I hop around.
Heck yeah.
Let's go.
But we are here to talk about the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a few moves that has happened recently. The Browns brought on QB1 Kellen Mond and cut our boy Isaac Rochelle.
Okay, thinking about as we're getting to Rochelle, as we're talking about Isaac Rochelle, I'll be completely honest with you. I do not get the outrage for cutting him, and I'll go as far to say if he and his wife were not TikTok stars, nobody would care. Outright, I will say that absolutely. Like having watched Rochelle, he's okay, but people are acting like this guy's like Myles Garrett. He was DN6. And there was a reason
he is back technically, though. I mean, he's on the
back
practice
on the
squad.
Practice squad, but still, think about it. If he was this great player that they got rid of off the active roster, why is he on the Browns practice squad right now and somebody else didn't pick him up? It's because he's not that good. He has a wife that makes TikToks.
I think before I get JC and Breed's opinion on Isaac Rochell, I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest and be completely candid. He was fantastic at fan engagement these past couple of weeks, and I think that it's refreshing for people on Browns Twitter and Twitter in general to be able to be as active as they were with him. So I think that was fantastic to have him on. And yes, are the TikToks like a part to play? Yes, they're hilarious. Him and his wife are amazing. I love their content that they put out. But again, I don't think he was the greatest defensive end, and I love the fact that he's on the practice squad. I do, just because of being able to interact with a guy like that on your favorite football team is huge. But I'll let JC go first, and then Breathe, you can go and give your opinions.
Absolutely. I mean, here's the thing: you're 100% right. Everybody, he's just a likable guy, and so obviously, when we have guys who are, like you said, engaging with us, just likable guys, he's kind of like Johnny Stanton. That was kind of the other person that we were upset about getting cut, which is really not going to affect this season. I think for me, the one thing football wise that I was a little upset about is I think he played really great in the preseason, right? So it was him and Winovich, and those were pretty much the cuts because when we're getting rid of Thomas, he played amazing. And I think we just didn't really see enough of Winovich, which obviously they did in practice. So, the fact that we basically traded Winovich and Mac straight up, which, I don't know if he would have made the team if he was still here. He probably wouldn't have. I think that's the thing where people were like, we saw Rochell play. He's awesome. He played great in the preseason. He's a likable guy. So I get people being upset, but you're 100% right. It's 95% the fact that he's just a likable TikTok star, which is fine too. But he's back, so and I am glad he's back.
Yeah, I'm still glad that he's on the team in some form. Breathe through. What's up, man? How do you feel about this acquisition or this cut? Before you talk about the acquisition of Kellen Mond,
I'll be honest with you, and I guess I'm kind of old fashioned when it comes to it. I've been a part of TikTok dances with my siblings and everything else like that. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
We need to see that.
We need that footage. We need that footage.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, he was somebody who, when I see him in the preseason, I thought he could definitely, contribute in a way. I didn't know if he was going to make the roster. I mean, they used him a lot when it came to like defensive end and defensive tackle. So you saw the versatility there. But I think when it came down to it, I think, they had other guys on the team, like I said, that they were, looking at. And unfortunately, with someone like him, he was just like one of those guys where it's like you just got the short end of the stick, honestly. I mean, and like you guys said, I mean, they're pretty well known on TikTok. I kind of that's the one platform I haven't hit yet. Stay tuned. But yeah, I mean, no, honestly, I think the move at the end of the day was a lateral move, in my opinion. I mean, the same people who were complaining about it, though they're the same people where they can't really complain now because he's on the practice squad. I mean, what do you want from him? If he does good enough to get playing time, then he'll be on the roster. But if he doesn't, I mean, hey, he's still making his bread, and he's still balling out in the practice squad. So I mean, hey, it is what it is. So
yeah,
speaking of complaining, I kind of really wanted to touch on something that one of these topics that are going to be really passionate for me. Kellen Mond, there's been a lot of complaining moving forward because they thought at first, hey, was Kellen Mond brought on, and then and Isaac Rochell was kind of the person who was cut because of that acquisition. But why on earth is there so much outrage against a guy like Kellen Mond, who Kevin O'Donnell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, was really high on him as well, saying some great things before he left. But at the same time, he had that quarterback competition with Sean McMillan over there in Minnesota. But again, they went with Nick Mullins to back up Kirk Cousins. But what is the big outrage with Kellen Mond? Whoever wants to take this first, go ahead.
I don't get it. Like, I'll go as far to say I don't get it. I said off air, to me, kind of going forward, I see Kellen Mond as QB2 moving forward, and I see Josh Dobbs as QB3. So obviously we've already talked a little bit about the Cavs. So make another Cavs reference. I think Josh Dobbs, for all my Cavs fans out there, is going to be this team's equivalent of the LeBron era Cavs James Jones. James Jones was he was a guy like he would come in like he'd maybe hit a three like every 2 months. But what he did when he was a locker room leader, he was a brilliant basketball mind, and that's how he added value to the team by taking up a roster spot. I think that's what you're going to see Dobbs do forward for the Browns. He's athletic. If you put him in, he's not going to embarrass himself, but he's not your main backup. I think they're looking at Kellen Mond as a Jacoby replacement going forward, not a Dobbs replacement. And now with Watson being out, he's going to have these 11 weeks where he can learn directly from Jacoby.
This is accurate.
That's so
Absolutely.
true.
Max,
That's very true.
Because it's really an irrelevant. So
yeah, for sure.
I'll let Breathe give his thoughts, then JC, then Christian. Go ahead, Breathe. What do you think about Kellen Mond?
I watching him coming out of Texas, I think it was Texas A&M. A&M, I thought he was somebody who, he I don't know, he gave me kind of like, I guess you could say Dak Prescott vibes, where he was one of those guys where if you let him sit for a while, he would eventually, become, I guess you could say, the guy, the predecessor. I don't know. I think when it came to him, like, he just really was never going to get that opportunity in Minnesota, unfortunately, with Kirk Cousins and everything. And I look at, and I'm just, I don't know. I look at him and I'm honestly, I'm looking at him like maybe in a year, because I think if Jacoby plays well enough, he's going to play himself into possibly another job somewhere else. Possibly. Look at it. Like, I look at it kind of like where he's going to be battling with Josh Dobbs, really for the backup job for next year for Deshaun Watson. Basically, he's really going to be battling it out with him because like I said, Jacoby, if he plays well enough, another team's probably going to snatch him up since he don't deal. I think he's one of those guys where, like I said, he's just very raw, but at the same time, you see the traits there. So it's like, it's definitely something for like a third quarterback on the roster. It's definitely someone that, you want to build on those traits basically, because you never know what they can be. I just think I think he got a raw deal. So
JC, talk to me. What are you feeling, Kellen Mond?
Like I said, I don't want to call it completely irrelevant because obviously they made that move for a reason. But I just don't think the only thing that it has for me is like, so we're talking about a fourth quarterback at the moment, right? So it really doesn't have any effect. It's the same thing to me as like Josh Rosen coming back on the practice squad. Like, we're good at quarterback. We know who our quarterback is for 4 to 10 more years. So, whoever the backup is, if it's Dobbs, if it's him after this season, we got a guy who's pretty similar to Deshaun, run practice squad stuff and give the defense a look, So I'm not upset about it. I think truly that people are upset that he's the guy that came in for Rochelle. I just think that's it.
Yeah.
So they're like, Kellen Mond, what is he gonna? They're looking at it like we're bringing this guy in to ever play for us, and that's hopefully never gonna happen ever. So I'm not really mad about it.
And honestly, Jeff made a good Twitch comment and just saying that, like, everybody was upset about the Dobbs signing and everything like that. And now we saw Dobbs perform really well in the preseason, made some highlight plays, t-shirt coming off like cheese and a mozzarella stick. And like the Browns tweeted out earlier, it was spinning out of it, great torque. And he's a rocket scientist, so he knows about torque and everything. But I think that obviously Josh Dobbs is going to be used in the running game a lot in different packages. Kevin Stefanski said earlier today. So I think it's more of a, hey, what if Josh Dobbs gets hurt? I mean, man, oh man. I mean, that's going to look really weird. Yeah. So they probably brought in somebody who's also athletic in Kellen Mond, potentially to call up from the practice squad if something happens, because they're going to be using Josh Dobbs a lot in the running game. You got to keep people on their toes. So
on the Kellen Mond situation, I'm going to go back to the Isaac Rochelle. So I understand why he got cut. I mean, did you see that tweet the other day from him? He got asked pancakes or waffles, and he chose pancakes.
That's right.
That is exactly why he got cut. There's no other reason.
He's on the wrong side. He's on the wrong side.
Exactly. If he picks waffles, he's probably starting.
Winovich picked waffles. That's what happened.
Exactly. They saw the tweet. They saw the tweet, and they're like, "Bro, we got it." They brought him in. Stefanski brought him in. They looked at him dead in the eyes and they said, "You're cut. Get off the team.
Give me turn in your playbook."
And he redeemed himself. He redeemed himself because he shotgunned a bang, and then they put him on the practice squad.
I heard
exactly.
JC, breathe. I want to get your guys' opinion really quick. Pancakes or waffles?
Oh man,
Breathe good.
Gotta go waffles, man.
All right, hey, right side. JC.
Absolutely. You've seen it. I've tweeted about it. It's not even close. Waffles are so much better. It's not. It's quite not.
As long as we're getting this straight, make sure these
pancakes are just worse waffles. It's worse.
Waffles are evolved pancakes with little syrup pockets.
Tony said French toast. French toast.
The chat is popping off. I can't even keep up.
It really is. Mandy.
Chat is popping off.
She says waffles as well. So while you get yourself some waffles, you get yourself some fruit, you're having a good breakfast. Part of this good breakfast. Shout out to waffles.
Yes, sir.
On French toast, man, but it's low key. It's low key the underdog for real. It's low key.
It is French toast. Good
well, okay. French toast is like more elite, so we don't even include it.
Yeah. You're elite when you have your own cereal.
Well, you don't even really have to you don't even have to have a fork for that.
Waffles have their own cereal, Manny.
What is waffle cereal?
Waffle crisp. Never heard of it?
And waffle fries. You don't have pancake fries.
True, yeah, waffle fries. I have to look up that. We have to talk about that cereal.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Waffle crisp.
Waffle crisp is very good.
But getting back to the Browns, let's. Oh man,
down
Mikey.
with the breakfast.
Mikey just buried.
There you go.
He just ended the debate. Listen, Mikey commented in with chicken and waffles. That is done. That is elite. That is over. That's a perfect way to end this conversation.
Over.
Absolutely.
But getting back to the Browns, the quarterback room right now, we've got technically 4 quarterbacks on 5, if you want to count practice squad. We got Deshaun Watson, Manny Maxwell, Jacoby Brissett, Josh Dobbs, Kellen Mond, Chosen Rosen. So as a complete room, I know Deshaun's suspended,
right?
But how do you guys rate this, or just are you guys comfortable with this quarterback room moving forward?
I am personally. I mean, looking at this, Rosen has serious arm talent, so having him on the practice squad is at least interesting. I mean, having arm talent doesn't mean it'll actually translate to anything, but he throws a nice ball. Maybe if he works on his accuracy, maybe he can be a solid backup. I really like Kellen Mond. I'm really high on it. I think he went to a horrible, horrible fit. Keep in mind, Kellen Mond is a guy who's active with his legs. He's pretty accurate, doesn't throw deep. Then he goes to a spread-style offense in Minnesota where that's all Kirk Cousins does. He was playing on a system. That's why he wasn't that great of a fit. That's why Kwesi Adofo-Mensah got rid of him and brought in Nick Mullins, because Nick Mullins is a better fit for that spread offense. Keep in mind, one little known fact about Nick Mullins, outside of Patrick Mahomes, nobody else has thrown for more passing yards in their first 16 NFL starts than Nick Mullins. Fun little fact for you right there. So that he's a perfect fit for there in Minnesota, and Kellen Mond lands right in our lap. I think Jacoby Brissett is massively underrated, and here's why. Keep in mind that the Indianapolis Colts under him started off 7-4 in 2019. He only threw 6 interceptions. He wasn't great down the stretch, but still, if you think about the situation that Jacoby was thrust into, it's in some ways more stressful than this situation. Andrew Luck retired halfway through the preseason, just was like, I'm done. Jacoby went from being the backup, only taking reps with the 2s, to being like, okay, you're the starter now. At least here in Cleveland, we knew that he was going to be starting at minimum 6 games. That was kind of everybody knew that. So think about this. Now you have Jacoby giving him some time. We haven't seen Jacoby with time. He's not a Pro Bowler by any stretch of the imagination, but he completes his passes, makes good reads. He takes what the defense gives him. He can make plays with his legs. At the end of the day, that's all you need. You just need a guy who's going to go out there and make good decisions, not lose you the game.
Maddie's legit preaching right now. JC, how do you feel about this quarterback room minus Deshaun Watson?
Hard to follow up. That was great. So anytime that you've just got an elite quarterback, I mean, you feel good. The thing is about this season, I'm going to have fun watching it. I'm excited for it. I don't think it's a lost year completely, but really, not to go back to it's always next year. But like I said, we've got 4 to 10 years of elite quarterback play that we have that we know we're going to get. So I feel great about that. Obviously, I think Jacoby is in a spot where, obviously he had a rough preseason, but let's be real, we've seen him before. He's probably one of the best backups in the league. So For this season, or for at least 11 games of this season, obviously it's unfortunate whenever your backup is starting for you. But with Dobbs, I mean, if he plays anything like he played in the preseason, he's the best third string quarterback in the league. Like, he was so
for
good
sure, for sure.
for
Amazing.
every game. So the other two guys, to me, it just depends on, if because Mon is on a rookie contract, they're trying to keep him around for that control. Then, I think he's a guy who, like, a lot of people really liked him out of college. He was kind of like that second or I guess third tier of guys that your Hughes drafted. So, we'll see what he is. But to me, I don't think we have Brissett here for a long time. But I think he's a pretty good stopgap to be there for the time Deshaun's gone. But, the backup quarterback, it's not going to be super hard to have somebody when you have an elite.
I just thought of something. Sorry to interrupt.
I can't wait. You look,
but
it
might just be like a dumb thought. But, like, do you think they brought him in to maybe, like, convert him to, like, a wide receiver or a tight end?
God,
I don't think so. I don't.
He's
think
big.
So. I mean, he is. He's 6'3". He's
6'3", right?
He's fast.
But I mean, I don't even know.
That is big branding.
I don't know. I don't even know if he can catch. Like at least with Terrell
I don't know
Pryor,
if he can catch. I'm just saying.
Idea, but I mean, that's interesting. That's interesting.
We're at a loss for words. We have no.
Yeah, I actually am a loss for words.
Like I
don't think so. I'm a fan of hot takes, Christian, but I don't. I think
I mean, they could, like, low key, like, maybe practice squad, like, keep him as, like, a receiver. Because I mean, he's 6'3", maybe 6'4".
If that happens, remember this moment.
He's on the active.
The first I've heard of this. So
if that happens, you heard it here first. Hey, Bree, we want to get you in here. How do you feel about this quarterback room moving forward without Deshaun Watson for 11 games?
I feel a lot better than I guess you could say last year compared to last year's quarterback room.
Mm-hmm.
I just look at it like, no offense to Case Keenum, he was, fine when he was here, but I look at it like Jacoby allows you to do things that, I guess you could say Case Keenum just doesn't. And I look at it from that standpoint of, you can go back to the Denver game last year, literally. I know they had a couple starters out, but you literally seen it was like it felt like the only play they had on their sheet was just HB dive, literally the whole just like, screw it, we just gonna play here and just keep on going. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, hey, it's working. So I mean, I guess, but I'm sitting and it was just like, whereas Jacoby can at least he can make he can move the chains. He can he can occasionally make the deep pass if he has a guy open. He's not going to give you, I guess you could say, like the real flash type stuff or whatever. But at the end of the day, he's going to be consistent. Which, if you look at it from comparing it to last year, I think that's something that we've been missing. So I think when you look at it from that context, I think we upgraded the room in my opinion. Like I said, if you're going from Jacoby to Case to Josh Dobbs to like at when it comes to his athleticism and everything else he can possibly bring compared to Nick Mullins, I think my biggest thing is when I look at it, like, I definitely think they upgraded the room a lot, and we're gonna see in time whenever Deshaun comes back, like, hey, we're gonna see.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I think the playbook gets opened up a lot at that point, so we're gonna see it be a good time in Cleveland, man. It's gonna be rocking.
You know what? And I'm gonna say it. You know what? You guys are really optimistic and happy and joyful about this quarterback room right now. I am happy as well for the first 4 weeks of the season. Week 5 Chargers, Week 6 Patriots.
Right, it's gonna be tough.
Week 7. I'm happy for the first 4 weeks. After that, that's when I'm a little melancholy. There's a little vocab word for you. I'm a little bit scared. Sorry if I'm not very confident moving forward. Depends on how the defense plays for the first 4 weeks. Depends on how the wide receivers play for the first 4 weeks. Who we even have in the wide receiver room for the first 4 weeks. Health for the first 4 weeks. COVID for the first 4 weeks. That's what I want to see. So my thing right now is I want to see some consistency for the first 4 weeks of the season, and then you're going to have to re-ask me this question. That's how I feel. It feels great right now when you're talking about the Jets, when you're talking about the Panthers, you're talking about the Steelers, and you're talking about the Falcons. It looks great. But that's just how I feel. So Hate to be negative, but
I got a hot take for you boys.
Let's hear it.
go ahead.
I would much rather have prime Jacoby Brissett, like this version of Jacoby Brissett right now, than 2021 Baker. 100%.
Really?
I think that this version of Jacoby Brissett and who Jacoby Brissett is, and if you go back and look at his resume, I think that is an upgrade from 2021.
2021 Baker.
Not 2020, 2021. It's hard to argue with. If you go back and look at the turnover numbers and everything, it's hard to argue with.
Interesting. What do you think about that, JC Breathe? What do you guys think about having this Jacoby Brissett, prime Jacoby Brissett? Is that what you're saying, Matty G? Let me get you right. Let me quote you.
I'm saying yes. I'm saying prime Jacoby Brissett at his best compared to last year's Baker is an upgrade.
He is. Jacoby Brissett is playing on the best roster he's ever played in his NFL career.
Mhm.
So
I think
will say
that's sorry.
Hey man, I just want you to know.
My bad.
So any big words that you pull out, I got my dictionary ready.
Breeze's got
He has been waiting for that.
Tell
We
us
talked
how-
about rocket scientist Dobbs earlier. We got another scientist here. So
he got that thing strapped.
Go ahead, JC. What do you think about that?
I think that, I mean, listen, Jacoby at his best and Baker last year is at least a lateral move, right? And I think he's probably better. You look at the numbers he had, and, we've kind of gone through this before in spaces, but if you look at that Colts team, they weren't great yet. That was kind of like a couple of years before. I think it was Quentin Nelson's rookie year.
Yeah.
Their defense was really not that good. And just what he was able to do on that team was pretty. I mean, it's they basically the same record that we had last year with Baker, right? Yeah. So, I don't think he was bottom. I mean, at best or at worst, I should say, it was a lateral move. And then also, I think the team, for whatever people who like Baker want to say, I think everyone on the team likes Jacoby. So, if anything, that
helps,
helps, right?
That helps.
That people don't dislike him.
And Amari Cooper's probably the best receiver he's played with.
I think
that's
absolutely
true. That's true. Breathe. What do you think about the situation?
I think I mean JC kind of summed it all up. I think when you look back at that like Colts team, basically, like obviously when you look back at the numbers he put up, they weren't like the most flashiest thing in the world, but at the end of the day, he did something that we asked Baker to do a lot of last year, which is just to be consistent, keep the chain, run the ball, just use the play action, everything else like that. He graded out pretty good, I think, that season when it came to play action and everything else like that. Running game that year with Nyheim Hines, Marlon back, guys like that out there, and it was just like they were one of the better teams when it came to that. So that's the thing I'm looking for when it comes to Jacoby. Is like I said, you use the running game because no offense to that team, but we have Nick Chubb, we have Kareem Hunt, we have guys who at the end of the day can run that ball and build off that. Use the running game to build the play action because teams are going to be coming in, they're going to be trying to stack the box, and at the end of the day, you hit them with a little play action. I look at it like the first 4 weeks, like Manny said, you're not necessarily worried as much. But then, like you said, when you play a team like the Chargers and everything else like that, that Colts defense was pretty dang good that year. Like they had guys like Justin Houston and a couple other dudes that year, so they were pretty good. And I look at it and I'm like all you're asking Jacoby to do is basically, like I said, just keep you in the game. The defense. Yeah. I'm confident with guys like Miles, like Denzel, guys like that. I'm confident they'll keep us in games. It's just all about, like I said, him doing his part, and like I said, just keeping the chains moving. That's the biggest thing. So
now, speaking of like consistency and things like that moving forward, I just want to shift gears slowly to the overall roster of the 53-man roster. Now, I kind of want to get your guys' inputs on certain players that made the roster that you were surprised of, or how are you feeling overall with this roster moving forward? If you're feeling pretty good, feeling pretty confident, kind of a lay of the land situationally. Matty G, I want you to kick it off, and how do you feel about the 53-man roster heading into September 11th at Panthers?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think that I was openly speculating. I don't think Andrew Berry is going to make another move for a receiver, and I'll tell you why. I think he has an eye on a guy in the draft coming out for next year. I think that guy's name is Jordan Addison, the now USC receiver, and here's why. Hold on.
How you gonna get Jordan?
Before you call me crazy, let's go over this up.
Man.
This is a fingers crossed situation.
It really is.
If like first off, let's remember this time last year, people would have called you crazy if you would have said that George Pickens would have been a mid to late second round pick. He was the best receiver in college football this time last year. What if Addison gets hurt? What if Addison falls on his face at USC? Let's look at this USC team. The USC team. I'm completely against Lynn Bowden. I don't want to get into that.
Oh my god, we need him.
I think there's a lot of character concerns there. Don't want to get into that, but with Jordan Addison, because here's the thing is that I think that it's very possible for him to fall in the draft. And I think let's say he's even in the 20s, available in the 20s. The Browns have the ammo to go up into the 20s and go get him. They really do. If you think about it, he's tall, he's fast. He is like that prime number one receiver. And I was looking at pre-draft rankings. He's only ranked as like the 5th, 6th, 7th best receiver in the class. Because keep in mind, like Drake London was the first receiver off the board this year. Did you hear a lick about him at all during college football? At all.
It's toward the end. Cosmo said we're talking draft already, but I'm talking about it right now. But no, that's a good point.
No, like if you go through, like David Bell was a finalist for the Blittenkoff Award, and he went in the late 3rd round. He won the Big Ten Receiver of the Year, and Olave and Wilson went far. Like if you look at these guys, like you cannot pinpoint based off of like rankings and stuff how far these guys will go. I really, really think that AB Jordan Addison, if you look, I mean, it makes sense. And he fits the profile of a receiver. Remember, it was reported that they were very close to acquiring A.J. Brown on draft night, ended up getting outbid. So
I just feel like I'm not comfortable with this wide receiver room moving into the season. But I love Jordan Addison. I honestly love him at Pitt. I think he's the reason that Kenny Pickett went off. But that's just me. But I kind of want something now. You know what I mean? You got Odell Beckham.
I agree.
You got Koza, you know what I mean? Cole Beasley, JC. I mean, I know you were kind of having some strong opinions about it, and then we'll go to Breve and then Christian.
Yeah. I think that the fact that, let's just say all that happens with Addison, I don't think bringing in anybody right now is going to affect that in any way. I think that we can hope and plan and try to draft. I think the receiver is going to be the number one need on our team going into the draft no matter what. So I don't think that any of these guys that we're going to bring in is going to do anything. Some of the guys like, obviously there's Mims that's out there unless he's gotten picked up. Or just some of these guys who obviously they're available for a reason, right? But if you remember the year that Brashard Perriman came in, I think he played really good for us. So it's just kind of like that change of scenery. Like that's kind of the idea I think behind, some of these guys maybe being able to come in and do something for us. Am I comfortable with our wide receiver room right now? It's so bad. No, I am not. I tweeted out something positive about Schwartz a couple days ago, but he's not an NFL receiver right now. He's just trying to figure it out. I don't want him to see the field at all. I think that for me, I was super upset to see Javon Wims get cut. And I understand why. I completely get it, but he just played so well during the preseason. I wanted to reward him with a chance, and we keep a guy who played awful during the preseason in Schwartz just because he got drafted so high. So, like I said, I get it. I don't want us to get to the point where we are just keeping draft picks because they're draft picks. We're at a point now where we're a team who's supposed to be win now. So I think that I don't think that AB and Stefanski have a huge ego. I've heard people say that. I think that after this year, we'll see that really be tested because I do still understand why Schwartz is on the team. But, like I said, if you look at it, our top 3, one's a rookie. I'm very happy with him. Really like him a lot. And then we've got DPJ, who's been super inconsistent and should hopefully break out this season finally. And Amari, who is, pretty much right on the edge of being a 1 or a 2. So I'm happy with those 3 guys. But it's you got 3 receivers who are actual quality. If one of those goes down, man, we are in some trouble. So I just wanted. That's why I thought, like I said, Wims. You saw him make some good catches. You saw him maybe not get the most separation, but on a 3rd and 2 slant or a 4th and 2 slant in the 4th quarter, I think he's going to catch the ball way more than Schwartz is, and I would trust him too. So, I guess we'll see. But, it's definitely our weakness right now.
I think – Christian, do you want to say something?
Oh, we can let.
Yeah. I'll let.
I'll let him go.
I thought you just wanted to say something quick, but
No,
obviously,
I'm good.
before you go, there's some names out there like the Cole Beasleys, Will Fullers, Odell Beckham's, Denzel Mims. I know you guys like some Denzel Mims action, Denzel Mims season. Another Denzel on the squad for sure. Breathe. How do you feel about the 53-man roster? Some of the people that are on there. Is there anything that you're kind of concerned about?
I mean, I guess the only position that really kind of stands out for me, I mean, like the wide receiver room. I mean, that's really the only one. And then I think you could go to also probably looking at the safety room.
D-tackle, some people say.
You know, because I look at the standpoint of, you know, you have Grant, you have John, all of them. That's fine and dandy. Let one of them go down. We're in a situation where, you know, we have Ronnie Harrison, but Ronnie Harrison in the box type safety. He's not somebody who you can put out in coverage. He's not somebody who, at the end of the day, is gonna do what the same things that John Johnson and Grant Delpit. And then if you look even past that, you got guys, unproven guys who, like I said, D'Anthony Bell. He had a pretty good preseason, but preseason is preseason. We all know that. And you know, we have Richard LeCount, which. Surprisingly, I was, I do a lot of scouting, so I that was someone who I liked coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he just has never really became what I thought he could. So you know, I guess that's one position, and then like I said, just the wide receiver room in general. I think right now, I don't know what it is. I think Barry and Stefanski, they, you know, and I say this because I don't want people to like be surprised by it later on. I could honestly see week one going into the season with the wide receiver room that you see now will be the same guys that will be there week one. Like I don't really see another person to the room, even though I feel like they should. I don't feel like they will, because I feel like they have this kind of way about them where it's just like, we want to show you why our guys are going to work this, that, and the other. And, you know, it's, you know, I mean, that's concerning, to be honest. I mean, you look at it, like I said, if Amari Cooper goes down, you're asking guys to step up like DPJ and David Bell, who, you know, they're nice names, but they're not wide receiver ones.
Mm-hmm.
So
not yet.
Not yet, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, it's concerning. I definitely will say that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I'm staring at right now. That's why I think honestly they're gonna stick to, you know, like they're gonna, let's put it like this, they're gonna definitely pass it at least 20 to 25 times a game. But they're definitely gonna try to use the run as much as possible. So
really quickly, I just going on a tangent really quick. I have a question for all of you. I really, one of my favorite top 3 football players of all time in the NFL. One of them is Odell Beckham. I really want Odell Beckham back, and I understand it's everybody's split on Browns Twitter. What's up with that? Said a couple comments. Come on.
I can see that. Hey, Manny, I could see that honestly happening. Like, I could really see it.
I see. Thank you. This is amazing. Now,
he's really cool with Deshaun, and Deshaun is going to be out till December or wherever. Yeah, they're both rehabbing. You know, probably in the same type of places. And I look at it like, and I read this somewhere. I don't know where I read, but it was somewhere where it was like OBJ. Even though when he was leaving, he said positive things about the city, and you know, one of the main factors outside of the money and everything else like that for Deshaun to come here. And so I look at it like, if we're competitive when Deshaun gets back, and if we're like at least, you know, at 6-5, 7-4, worst case scenario 5-6, you know, I think it's
the division maybe.
Exactly, facts, exactly. Yeah, screw everybody else in the division, but no, I mean honestly,
of course.
No, I mean, that's where I could see him coming back, and I think if you add him to this room, I'm not gonna lie to you, it looks kind of nasty at that point, because you talking about at that point, you know, David Njoku's probably gonna be hitting his stride. You have Amari Cooper really being comfortable being the number 2. Yeah. And then David Bell, like we seen throughout the preseason, even though it's only been a small amount, we seen how he's been able to contribute when he's been on the field. So yeah, I mean, Manny, you ain't wrong about that. I can see that.
Sweet.
Really quick, go ahead, Christian, and then I want Matt to go because he's
I'm all for the OBJ getting him back, but when he would be coming back would be more when Watson's coming back. We don't really need our receivers. We all know they're not the most. They're lacking depth,
right?
But we need some more depth for Jacoby, not for Watson.
True. I agree with that.
So we need to get if we're going to get a receiver, we need to get one now instead of later because OBJ is still recovering. He'd come back around Watson. Watson elevates the play of wide receivers. We need to get some more receivers to help elevate Jacoby because those 11 weeks. You don't know what's going to happen. There could be a few injuries here or there. Yeah. Some guy that kind of stands out to me is Kendrick Bourne from the Patriots.
That's an interesting a guy I was looking at that's kind of he has been. I originally was skeptical if he was going to be available. I really, really, really like Terrence Marshall out of
yes sir
the Panthers. Wow. We don't know if he's available. He is. It's been confirmed that they were taking trade calls on him and Robbie Anderson. I would give up probably a 4th or 5th round pick for Terrence Marshall. I think he'd be a really good fit in this offense. I think him and Watts would play great together. To me, if you add Terrence Marshall to this core, I'm a lot more comfortable moving forward. Because to me, that gives you a top 4 of Amari, Marshall, DPJ, and David Bell. I think that's a pretty confident top 4. You can do a lot. You can do a lot of different things with all those guys. So I'm a lot more comfortable with that moving forward. However, I do indeed think that Barry's plan for next year is to add a receiver in the draft, and that's
I wouldn't be shocked if it's a couple.
Yeah. What if David Bell goes off? Is it still what if David Bell looks like a prime Jarvis Landry? Would you still go after wide receiver, or would you look to get a D tackle? Not saying that Perrion Winfrey won't be great, but you know what I mean. You want to get somebody who's a run stopper.
Yeah, because I don't think Amari's going to be here next year. I think
that's true. Yeah. I don't think unfortunately, I don't think Amari's going to be here either.
I think we've looked at this before, and someone looked at his contract, and it makes sense. I think after the second year, it almost looked like he's guaranteed to be here 2 years. I think I don't know. That could be wrong, but the way that it was set up, I don't think he'll be here this whole contract because I think it was pretty easy to get out after a certain amount of time.
Right.
But him being here for one season would be a little shocking to me, especially because, let's think about it. Obviously, we're going to want to draft a guy, but let's say David Bell is just okay. We're letting our best receiver on a bad receiving core go. I don't know if that's going to happen. So I think for me, let's say David Bell goes off. He's great. Looks like a number 2 over DPJ. I think for me, it really depends on, when we draft a receiver, because we probably still will no matter what. I think it depends on what Michael Woods does. If David Bell is awesome, Amari plays really good, and DPJ also takes a step, and we have a really solid 3, we'll probably go D tackle and receiver instead of the opposite, right? But I think that a receiver, Schwartz is really also the key there. If he's someone who looks like he's going to get cut next year, then again, we're talking about having 3 receivers total if Michael Woods doesn't, show that he can be a guy. So
does Anthony Schwartz make it through the entire season with the Browns?
I think he kind of has to. I think the fact that they put him on this final 53 shows that they're committed to him until at least the cuts next season.
He'd be a camp cut next year.
Exactly. For sure. If he doesn't play well, for sure. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing to me. So I tweeted this out, and it's what's more likely? Is it more likely that he gets cut at the final cut or before next season, or is it more likely that he turns around and he's actually a productive receiver for us? That's kind of the reason why I was so upset with him making a team, because it's if he hasn't shown any progression so far, which maybe he has in practice, I hope he has. Then there's that. But like I said, I think that the earliest he could get cut, unless he's dropping passes every single week, unless he gets playing time and he's just clearly terrible. Obviously
horrible. I know, I'm a little bit of an optimist with this, and I haven't for a while. I think Schwartz is going to surprise some people this year. I think what he's going to have.
Please, I hope so.
I think these next couple of weeks will give him a little bit of time to clear his head, because at this point, I don't even know if it's a lack of football skill at this point. I think he's so in his head. I think he's got this nice long weekend that all the guys don't have to be back till Monday afternoon, so you can go back to Louisiana, wherever he's from, and just chill with his family and just clear his mind.
Yeah.
That can do wonders. I mean, think about it. Jamar last preseason had like 6 or 7 drops.
Yes.
And he had one of the best receiving rookie seasons we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Not trying to compare
No, I know you're not.
to Jamar Chase, but at the same time, it can be
I gotta challenge. So I get what you're saying. I've heard that and I've seen it, and I also understand it too. The thing for me is, and again, I know we're not comparing them, but we've seen Jamar Chase in college be amazing. He was drafted where he was drafted for a reason.
True.
Schwartz was drafted in the 3rd, and he was also looked at as a pretty big reach. So to me, the reason, and of course I'm optimistic too, and I hope he plays well, and I'm going to root for the guy as long as he's wearing orange and brown. But I think that for me, it's like we really haven't seen him do it ever. Like, it's not like we're just hoping he gets back to that and it's just in his head. It's like he doesn't have that skill. He's also in his head, and he's not putting it together. You know, like I said, I think the reason he's drafted, straight up, he has an elite trait. He has an elite speed trait.
Yes.
And you hope that you can put a football player into that. And we're either going to do it or he's going to get cut.
If you look at the highlights from Auburn, you can see this guy fly. You can just see like how
phenomenal.
And even actually realizes until Mac, not to give him too much credit, pointing this out like 3 weeks ago. You go back to the Kansas City game last year, that 42-yard reception he had from Baker, there was nobody around him. If he keeps his feet up, keeps his control, he is gone. That's like the type of thing is like if he can, like, to me, that's why I have a lot of hope for Schwartz, because I think what he needs to work on is so – granted, it's such a massive part of the game, but once he knows how to catch the ball, he has all these things that you can't teach. And I think for him – once you get him, like, to me, I think my goal for Anthony Schwartz would try to be kind of like what Will Fuller was Watson's first year in Houston. Yeah. Will Fuller had like 15 catches for 400 yards and like 5 TDs, where he just would take, like, he just run behind the defense. Deshaun would float it over the defense. Fuller would catch it and score. That is what I think you can see out of Anthony Schwartz, kind of like what McCole Hardman does for the Chiefs. I think he can do that quite well. You just got to give him some time.
See, the thing is with Schwartz, like, usually, like, in a receiver, you'll see the flashes. Like, you'll see the flashes of potential. Like, there'll be, like, a good stride here and a good catch here. Like, we've not saw that from Schwartz just yet. Like, the only time we've kind of saw a flash from the flash is that week 1, and then we never saw it again.
One play.
Yeah.
I think one thing, like you guys have been saying, my bad. I've been kind of running around.
No, we saw. No, you're good. You're good.
But nah, so I mean, no, I think if there's one thing that we know for sure is if you love job security, you know, go ask Andrew Berry to draft you. That's one thing we know for sure, because he for the last 2.5 years, 25 guys. Guess how much been cut? 0. And that is something. And I look at it and I'm just like, man, that's some job security right there. But not on the wide receiver thing. I think, like I said, I think Bell's definitely going to step up this year. Well, I mean, you know, he's gonna show why you drafted him as highly as you did, especially in the 3rd. And then you also look at it like, you know, Schwartz. You're hoping you can get something out of him. I mean, at this point, I feel like it's kind of a lost cause, but I know they're not going to give up on him until like, you know, he basically, even though I feel like he's given up on himself, they won't give up on him. So I think they're just hoping that he becomes what they need him to be. I don't know. Like I said, I think in terms of this year, you're really going to try and I honestly wouldn't even be surprised. And I think this is something that was brought up in a space one time. And I honestly think I wouldn't even be surprised by it. Don't be surprised if we possibly go out and get Mike Gesicki, because he's somebody who has been voting. Yeah,
they're listening to offers, but they're not looking to move them.
And I'm telling you, like, literally,
the face.
It's
the Bengals in 4th place face, dude.
Yes, it is.
And so I honestly can see like them utilizing you know, Gesicki in you know, in that receiver role, because if you look at it, he played a majority of his snaps coming out of the slot. So I could see a situation where you have, like I said, you have Amari out there. You have, you know, if they go out and get Gesicki, you could have him out there in the slot on certain packages or whatever. You have Njoku. You have you have Bell, because that's the thing about Bell. He can play the inside or he can play the slot. I mean, well, he can play the outside or the slot, whichever. Yeah. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of different ways to where they can make different packages happen. So I'm comfortable with it. Yeah.
So sorry to change the subject. I'm sorry. So I've just been thinking on it. Week 1. What are your guys' like projections on the score and just how the game's gonna go? We can start with you, Matty G.
I have absolutely no idea.
I love the honesty. I
Full
love
confidence.
finally somebody's honest.
What
Yeah.
I told Jeff off air is that you could tell me Baker would throw for 400 yards and 5 TDs, and the Panthers win, and I believe you.
I don't know about 5 TDs.
I could also
I would not
you could also tell
All
me
to Christian McCaffrey.
that
All of
he
them just
has a 0.0 passer rating, and the Browns win like 10-2 or something like that. I believe you then too. I don't know how this is going to go. And being a fan of this team for as long as I have, this seems like a game they would lose just because it just kind of is. But at the same time, then Baker's kind of setting himself up for a typical Baker moment with his "I'm going to F him up" comments he made to Cynthia Freeland, which, by the way, that is one of the weirdest exchanges ever. Something about Cynthia Freeland has always bugged me, and I don't know how she went about that.
It wasn't true. Yeah, apparently she was like, "Oh, that's kind of assumed that's what he said." But
and then Baker tried to backtrack, and it just made it even look like more like a
look
lie,
weird.
like he actually said it.
Yeah, none of it makes any sense. But that kind of seems like.
Hey, glad that's gone. We've dealt with that for
exactly.
That's gone.
As guys who followed him for 4 years, we obviously know that when Baker makes those kind of comments, that usually, ends up coming back and biting him in the ass. That's the thing is there's so many things that are pointing in opposite directions to show me how this game is going to go that I'm throwing my hands up. I'm like, I have no idea, dude. Yeah. I have no idea.
I'll let Breathe. Breathe, go ahead. You can go. Go.
Yeah.
What do you think about this week 1? Talk your talk, Breathe.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I can't wait to hear what you say.
I told Manny this a while ago. If Baker throws for 504 TDs, it must be the flu game part 2. Literally, I'm telling you, Jordan flu, all that. I'm telling you because they must have found a way to find out whatever hotel room that all of our defensive starters were playing in. Go deliver a pizza or something that was, riddled with God knows what, just to get them food poisoning, and they just must have sat out. If that happens, I'm legit. I might break my TV that day. I don't believe this whole
you gotta breathe.
I don't believe it, man. And I think the defense and everything they're gonna come to play. They're gonna be motivated because at the end of the day, everybody, whether it's Twitter, whether it's ESPN, whether it's whoever, they've been shitting on them for so long that they're gonna be ready to prove something that week. Miles has heard what they said. I read something not too long ago where before Baker even backtracked on it, they were using this as motivation. This is the same type of thing where I look at it like when Juju said the Browns are the Browns. I heard that. Yeah. Okay, well, hey, we gonna come in there and we gonna put I wouldn't even be surprised if we put up 30 on their head. To be honest with you, I would not be surprised.
Oh, yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised if we beat them by 2 touchdowns because I think Baker is gonna get rattled when he sees Miles and Jadeveon coming off that line. Yeah, and it's gonna be a long day for him. That's all I'm gonna say. Pack your lunch.
Yes, sir.
Pack your lunches.
I love it.
I will say something, then I'll let JC and then Christian. But I'll tell you something right now. There is 0%. I'll buy a Baker Mayfield Carolina Panthers jersey if he throws 5 touchdowns. I clip this. I will buy a Baker Mayfield. He is not throwing for 5 touchdown passes.
Whoa. Do pick sixes count? Do pick sixes count?
Do pick sixes count, Matty G? In those 5 touchdowns?
We'll say pick sixes count.
You might have to buy one now.
Then I might have to buy one now. But I'm telling you right now, there's not a chance he's throwing 5 touchdowns, 400 yards.
Manny, I want to buy into that, but at the same time, we're Browns fans. We've seen this before.
Yes,
we've seen them force 6 turnovers and then tie Pittsburgh.
But we've also seen and Lamar Jackson with the 4 interceptions. That's Ben Roethlisberger. That's Lamar Jackson. This is Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is
the guy that they know.
On a defense that's watched him for 4 years. Myles Garrett is going to roll up. Myles Garrett will not wear sleeves that game, number 1. He's going to not wear sleeves. He's going to be a Jurassic Park kind of guy. He will sack Baker Mayfield. Not a chance. I do see a kind of one of those murky games from Baker Mayfield that we kind of oh, wow, Baker threw, was 20 for 21 and 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns. I see that. But at the same time, I don't see a huge breakout game. I really don't. I do believe the Browns are winning this football game. I've said it already. X team versus X player. The X team is going to win because this is not the NBA. This is just not.
Yeah.
One player can't change everything. So, JC.
Yeah, can you still hear me good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
sorry.
Sun's at 1%, so hopefully you don't lose it. So no, I think that it's. So here's the thing: the Panthers are not good, right? If you look at what happened last season, they finished worse than the Falcons.
I don't know about that.
They finished worse than the Falcons last year. McCaffrey's back, of course.
They had a bunch of injuries. Because here's the thing: is like they had a ton of injuries. Like, no, I'm not trying to be a Panther bro, but like I'll just tell you this like right now. I've liked that squad. Like I like that defense a lot. Like I think guys not talking about are J.C. Horn and C.J. Henderson, two elite young corners. Like my biggest fear is if I think the Browns were to lose this game, this is what I think would happen. My fear is that the defense, Joe Woods doesn't acknowledge the middle of the field. My fear is that there'll be like some long Christian McCaffrey touchdown run, and the Panthers will stack the box, and Jacoby won't be, and the two young corners will be able to shut down like Amari and DPJ. That's my biggest concern.
Matty, I hear you, but
JC, you can get a charger too if you want.
think,
Go ahead, you can get a charger.
Yeah,
I'm plugged.
Oh, you're plugged.
That's why my headphones are out.
Go ahead. Sorry, Breeze. Go ahead, Breeze.
I see. I was following you, Matty, and then you said elite when it came to I understood. I give you JC's really good. Don't get me wrong. But there's a reason why CJ got traded from the Jags in the middle of the season last year. There's a reason why he got traded for a guy who's at least moved around twice.
We can't say any move the Jags make are good.
Exactly.
The thing is, that was Urban Meyer who made a decision, though. We already know.
That's also true. Urban Meyer.
Well, Dante Jackson's pretty solid.
I just think about it, and I'm just like, I hear you, but I just think, like they're gonna be so focused on trying to stop our run to where the Browns are going to use that to their advantage, and like I said, they're going to try and dink and dunk and this, that, and the other. And I was at that last preseason game. I went to that, and there were a couple plays where you guys probably seen on the TV as well. Like, hey, what's his name? Jacoby. He threw a couple passes to Njoku and Bell for like 20 yards of pop.
He did throw some bullets. That's
exactly. True. And I'm telling you, it's like, hey. They can mess around and they want to stack the box against us. That's fine, but you're gonna figure out real quick the reason why you don't do that against the Browns. We've shown in the past that when you do that, it comes back to bite you. I mean, if you don't believe us, go look at some of the tape last year. Anytime we use
don't look at any tape last
we did.
Don't look at any
tape. Okay, but look at certain games. I'll say that. Look at certain games and you'll see why. So
here's the thing for me, right? Like I said, I don't think the Panthers are that good. Their line's bad, and if there's one thing that Baker really needs, it's a
good offensive line.
We know that, right? So I think that it's like if either of these teams score more than 30, I'm probably going to be really shocked. Yeah. I think that what I'm hoping for is that we win a game that's pretty similar to a lot of the games that we lost last season, where it's 17-14 or 20-17, right? Because I do think they have a good defense. Obviously, I hope Jacoby, again, he hasn't played. I mean, I understand why, because he's just like the clear number one with Deshaun out. But I mean, I really would have liked to see him have a little bit more in the preseason than he did, because we saw it and it didn't look great. So I'm not super worried. I do think that this is, like, as a Browns fan, and I'm not trying to have this loser mentality of what we've gone through in the past, but like if I had to guess, in my experience as a Browns fan, like, this is absolutely just a game that we lose. It's just like, of course we lose. Yeah. So we're better now. We're a better team. If I had to bet money on it, I'm putting it on us. But this is not going to be the easiest game of the first four we play. It's probably the second hardest just because of the Baker factor.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the Steelers are tough too, but
yeah. But you see, on the Panthers defense, I do think it's a good defense, but it's still young. And they just lost two of their biggest pieces on that defense. They lost Hassan Reddick.
Yep.
And then they lost Stephon Gilmore.
Mm-hmm.
That's two big pieces. I mean, they still got some depth at that cornerback room. They got some dogs. But it's going to kill them when they're going to stay on the field the whole game, because, I mean, that's really what happened to our defense last year when the offense keeps turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a pick six and Miles get like 3 or 4 sacks. Like, honestly.
Their line's so bad. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, he's lining up with a rookie.
exactly. That's our best offensive line.
Yeah, Ike Ekwonu, yeah.
Yeah.
I think really quickly, I just want to get everybody's quick score predictions of that game. Just kind of, just shout it out there. We'll go right down the line. We'll go Christian, Breathe, and Maddie, and then JC. Quickly give your score.
31-17.
Browns win?
Yep.
All right. Breathe, what do you think?
I think 27-14.
27-14 Browns win? Maddie
Yep.
G.
I'm gonna go 13-10 Browns.
13-10 Browns. JC.
I'm gonna give it to us. Like I said, I'll go. Like, give me something weird, like 22-17. Us. We go for 2-1.
22-17, and I will go a 16-13 win. Cade York with a nice seal in the fourth quarter.
There we
So,
go.
Sure.
There we go.
I love it.
The
A
York
59-yarder, right?
59-yarder. Yeah, I hope.
Oh,
That'd be
Manny.
awesome.
What is that shirt you're wearing?
I am wearing an homage shirt. Cleveland Browns, softest t-shirts in the world. Visit the website. Click the link. We'll be having
sir.
some links on our Network 216 bio for sure.
And there's not
stuff.
just Brown stuff. Look at this. NWO, New World Order.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that shirt has got the midfield logo.
Yes. Hopefully this
that's
is
what
the
I'm
new.
hoping for.
Yes, Brownie the Elf. Hopefully that's going to be.
I'm
That's gonna be
thinking
the-
about Heisman pose Brownie.
Yeah,
I like
the
the
running
Brownie.
Brownie.
I like the Heisman Pros Brownie a lot.
Listen, I'll take Brown. Yes.
That one's
Any Brownie the Elf in the middle would be super lit. JC, thank you so much for stopping by. Breathe, thank you so much
Thank you
for
guys.
stopping
Yes,
by.
sir.
Make
Thank you,
sure
guys.
everyone you follow JC at _JCLE _ and then follow Breathe at Breathe Through Pod on Twitter.
And one more thing too. Obviously, I'm part of Browns After Dark.
Browns After
pretty
Dark.
simple at Browns After Dark. We're starting apparently at 10 today. We're gonna go at 9 right after this, but it's gonna be a little bit later. So 10 o'clock today. In the spaces, come interactive. It's really fun. So that as well too.
And the Twitter Spaces
Yeah.
Spaces. Go on Twitter, log in, and hop at
Love
Browns
the
After
Spaces.
Dark.
And guys, don't forget to sub to Network 216. This great network that we're on. Just drop a sub. We're trying to get that sub rating up. So yeah, drop that sub if you like what we got going on here. Down with the Browns and the rest of the Network 216. And
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for
guys.
having me, guys. Loved it. It was
yeah,
super fun.
hope everybody
Thanks for coming
enjoyed.
on, guys.
Hope everybody enjoyed Pack the Pound with Down with the Browns. And go Browns.
Go Browns, baby.
Go Browns.
Yes, sir.